Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I kind of like saying that actually. My name is Fumilola and I am a mom of two, a double board certified pharmacist. I live in Canada. I am on a self journey and it is my hope that I will inspire at least one person to get on a journey of their own. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about mistakes that immigrants make when they're moving to a new country. We'll be using Canada as an example because that's where I live. So join me as we explore the different common mistakes or most common mistakes that people make when they're planning or when they move to a new country. All right, guys, let's get into it. So we're talking about mistakes that people who want to migrate or people who are moving to a new country typically make. First mistake would be not doing your research properly. Almost everything we're going to talk about today is going to be about not doing your research properly. But the first one that I want to actually talk about is deciding how you want to move to a new country. For a lot of people, they just they think that once you get into the country, everything's going to be fine. It's important to note that depending on the country that you go to, different legal migration status will reflect a lot on how you do in that country. And that's why you find that a lot of people will travel, whether on visiting visas, and then decide that they want to stay to find a work permit or something. And then they're like, oh, I can't stay there. It's terrible. And then they go on social media and they're like, oh, don't go to another country. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be hard. You're going to be mopping floors or whatever. Well, since we got here, I've never mopped floors. I don't know about other people, but yeah, it's not to say that people don't have to do survival jobs and all those things when they first of all come. But if you get into a country properly and legally, the chances that you're going to thrive is higher than if you try to wiggle your way in a less than legal status. Okay, our second mistake that a lot of people make is not researching the weather or underestimating the weather where you're going to. So I live in a part of Canada where we get into double digit negative temperatures. We get things like -30, but the wind makes it feel like it's -50, and people's fingers fall off and people's toes fall off. When you try to explain negative temperatures to people, they're like, oh, it can never be that bad. How bad can it be? I have a freezer, I have an air conditioner. So people tend to underestimate the weather, and they come and it hits them like a brick in the face. So my advice to you is, if you're moving from a temperate or a tropical region that's always sunny, it's summer all year round, you should research the weather of where you're going to, right? So, and then decide how you want to get there. So if, for example, you're coming from a place like Nigeria and you're going to a really cold part of Canada, say you're going to Saskatchewan, for example, you want to plan your landing around summer or a little bit into autumn or the fall, so that at least you ease into it. It's not like you land in the middle of winter when it's -20 something. That can be a little bit of a shock for everyone, and it can make you really sad. Another thing that I want to say about the weather that a lot of people don't know and they don't research into is there's a way that the weather makes you feel in the winter. There's actually something called SAD, seasonal affective disorder. It makes people really sad in the winter. That's the name, but seriously, it's an actual thing. You find that you're more depressed, you really don't want to go out, you feel really sad. So, research the weather of where you're going to and decide how you want to do it. Decide when you want to land, how you want to live, if you're going to be working from home, things like that. So, our next point is going to be about researching cost of living. When people are going to a new place, sometimes you feel like, okay, I'm actually going to talk about one point before I come to researching cost of living. So my next point is going to be the reason why people underestimate the importance of their proof of funds. When you're doing your application and they're like, oh, proof of fund for family of 5 is so and so amount. A lot of people think that the government don't know what they're saying. But the thing is, they have put a lot of calculation into, okay, if you land and you don't have enough money or you don't get a job for a while, how this money should be able to take you and your family for about 6 months at least, not being a pressure on the system and not making you worry and everything. So people underestimate the finances, the proof, need for a proof of fund, which now takes me to not researching cost of living properly. People want to go to a country, for example. There are different parts of that country that you can go to. For example, a lot of people want to come to Canada and they're only thinking of Toronto. They want to go to Ontario. That's all they want to go to. But there's like a ton of other places that you can live in that will not waste all your money, because if you come 11,000 miles from Nigeria to Canada, you can't live anywhere. Like, it's not as if they tie the umbilical cord to one province or the other. Except if maybe that's where you got a job or you're on provincial nomination, then you have to stay in that province. But apart from that, research cost of living of where you're going and the alternatives of where you can actually land, and look into your pockets and see how that reflects on you. That takes me to my next point. Another mistake that people make when they're coming is they want to maintain the standard of living that they were coming with when they were coming from Nigeria. So let's say, for example, you're in Nigeria. I mean, most of the people who migrate are not poor people. There are people that, I mean, you're doing well. Your lights never went off. You have a nice car. You probably live in your own house and you have like a really good job and everything. And so most people come here, and because mentally they feel like, oh, I don't want to downgrade. My children have to continue to live in a 5-bedroom apartment, and we have to continue to have like a really good car. And so they come, they rent like a full house, they rent a car, they want to continue that lifestyle. But the thing is, if you're migrating to a new country, you should actually start small so that you can go up. So we've seen cases of people who came and right off the bat, they rented like a huge duplex, 5-bedroom, went to town, bought a car on finance, and by the time they stayed like 4 or 5 months and they hadn't gotten a job, most of their proof of fund was gone. Because remember, again, you are converting naira to dollar and the exchange rate is, I mean, terrible. Or wherever you're coming from, there's a likely chance that the dollar is higher than the denomination of the country that you're coming from. So again, people so that's a really big mistake that people make. They want to maintain the high standard of living that they were coming with from where they were coming from. Another mistake that new immigrants sometimes make is not taking full advantage of the settlement services that the government provides. So like I said before, if you come into a country legally, the government usually wants to help you settle down. So they provide all of these settlement services. They're like, so for example, if you're a professional and you're in Alberta, there is braiding. Braiding is like a society that helps you settle down. Basically, they try to teach you how to apply for jobs. If you're a pharmacist, they have classes for your exams. I don't know about other professionals, but I know that they try to help you get placement. And they teach you about, oh, have you applied for your child benefits? Have you? So some people, when they come, they're like, oh, I don't need all those settlement people. I know what I'm doing. You need the settlement people. And if you don't attend like settlement programs before you leave your country, which they also do, for example, when we were leaving Nigeria, there were settlement trainings that they were doing. I attended one of them where they were telling us about, how things are so different, how gender roles are not the way that they are where the country you're coming from. I remember the lady gave an example of how her mom's the one who likes to blow snow and her dad is the one who likes to cook, something like that. And I found it funny because at the time I was like, no, snow blowing is supposed to be a man's job. But I guess, I mean, they were just trying to help us to adjust our minds. So it will be good for people to take advantage of the settlement programs that the government offers, and there's like a ton of them anyway. So if you get to a place where you're going, or even before you get there, try to research the settlement programs that are available and then try to take advantage of it. I mean, it's free and it's going to help you settle in better. Our next mistake is immigrants neglecting community and support. A lot of people, when they're coming from where they're coming from, I would use Nigeria as an example because, again, I'm a Nigerian, so that's what I know. They're like, oh, when I get to where I'm going, I don't want to associate with Nigerians because some Nigerians are da-da-da-da-da. But again, it depends on the kind of people that you associate with. I can say for a fact that the people that I have met since I have come into Canada have been amazing. They have helped out. The WhatsApp groups have been, a WhatsApp group is how I got here in the first place. So what are we even talking about, right? The WhatsApp groups have been amazing. The people have been helpful. And the impact of community has been great in my life. I can't even lie. Starting from like food group, shout out to Yummy Goodies people. Starting from food group where we come together to buy food in bulk so we can save money, to like groups that tell you about what is happening, the benefits that you can get and everything. So don't neglect. I understand people's hesitation when it comes to mixing with, because again, a lot of people, you don't know their backgrounds and everything, and you're worried about mixing. But I mean, you should trust your instincts and trust but verify, trust your instincts, verify the people you're going to be friends with. But community has a great impact. So that's another mistake that people make. They underestimate the impact of having community and having social support. Mistake number, at this point, I'm sure I've gone past 7 mistakes, but okay, this one is a really interesting one. People underestimate culture shock and social skills. Let me tell you one of the greatest culture shocks that hooked me when I got here. Where I was raised, when something happens to someone, you say, oh, sorry. When you tell someone sorry here, they're like, oh, but it's not your fault. Why are you sorry? Or I say, how was your night to someone? Apparently, that's a deeply personal question. Where I come from, that's like saying good morning. It's like, oh, good morning. How was your night? And they're looking at you like, why do you want to know how my night was? Like, how's that any of your business? So again, people underestimate the value of social skills. Culture shock, that's something you really need to research. And when you first get to an environment, it will be better for you to simmer down and watch how people are doing things before you say anything. Okay? Another mistake that people make, I think I talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to talk about it again, is how to organize their finances. Okay, I talked about it in terms of people wanting to come in on a high note and spend money and all that. But now I'm talking about it in terms of organizing your finances, understanding how credit cards work. Most of us came from a society where people don't know how to use credit. So we're either on a spectrum of, oh my God, I don't want to touch my credit card. They are trying to make me get into debt. Or, oh, free money, let's spend it. Which is why, again, okay, it's time to advertise myself. I am running a business that teaches children financial literacy. It's called Investikids. I'm going to link my YouTube page down in the comment section or in the description of this video, and you can check it out. Like, I just started the company, and we're looking at training kids to help them to be more financially literate and to be better than us, their parents, and to conquer that fear of money that we have, and to be able to just see money as a tool that it is. Anyway, don't let me get into advertising business right now. So yeah, that's another mistake that immigrants make. They don't know how of the money and the finances in the new country that they go to. And because a lot of us are coming from a place where we are cash based, so when we see credits, we either go bonkers with the credits, or we're very conservative, and then we miss out on a lot of opportunities that credit can actually afford us. So when you're going to a new country, research about the credits, again, research about the financial system, and understand what it's about. Another mistake that immigrants make when you get into a new environment and you're there legally, one of the things you want to try to do is find yourself a family physician or a family doctor. I don't know how it works in the US because they pay for everything, but in places like Canada and I think the UK, where government pays for hospital, you want to find yourself a family physician. It kind of helps if you're having a problem or whatever. You don't have to now start go looking for a walk-in clinic, and they're like, oh, we don't take walk-ins, blah blah blah. So one of the first things you want to do, find a family physician. Like here in Canada, you want to find a family physician. You want to get your baseline medicals done, like your LFTs and all those things, and they just have like a baseline. So if anything happens to you, everybody knows, oh, this is not how this person was when they first came. When you get to where you're going, if you're coming to Canada or the UK, I believe, find yourself a family physician, okay? For yourself, find pediatricians for your kids, and you'll be glad that you did. And last but not the least, this one sounds a little bit funny, but understanding distance and travel time and learning how to read the Google map. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. If you're like me, who felt like she had researched everything when she was going to move and everything, one of the things that happened to me when I got here was realizing that the Google map that I had where I was coming from was glue map. When I got here, I remember that I used to take the bus, and one particular really cold winter, I went downtown to do something. So I didn't drive, I took the bus, and I was waiting for a bus stop, and my Google map was like, oh, this is where you're going to get your bus. I'm like, oh, great, oh, yay. And I forgot that the bus has two sides, going and coming. So I was on one side, and my bus was on the other side. Guys, I wept. It was sad. And then I realized, oh my God, the bus stops have numbers. The going has a different number from the coming, even if the bus number has the same number, you know? So that's another thing. Understand travel times, transport system of where you're going, and I mean, you'll be good. So with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that you need to do your research properly when you're moving to a new place or a new country. If you know any other mistakes, or you realize that you made any other mistakes when you moved, please comment in the comment section and let us know. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.